Yes, Pooja, you can start.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, you
Pooja.
Okay, fine.
Pooja, we're waiting for you to start. The recording has already begun.
Okay, I am not audible. Okay, so good morning to all the dignitaries, guests, and delegates, especially our precious students and parent fraternity. I, Pooja Yadav, counselor, working with DLDAV Shalimar Bagh, welcome you all with great joy and immense exultation. I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to all present here for the second day of our unique event, Infinitum Virtual Education Fair. Chapter 4. Yes, the event that is heart of all school events. An event which students rarely look forward to for getting infinite answers related to their infinite questions. And that too first-handed, directly from experts, organizations, and universities. And audience, you can see all these sessions on our YouTube channel too. But first, let us put ourselves in the hands of God through our prayers. So now I would like to invite our ninth grade student, Suvijay, to begin with chanting of Gayatri Mantra in his soothing voice. So over to you, Suvijay.
ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्
Thank you, Suvijay. I'm sure it was melodious for all to listen to. Now, it's every student's dream to land on a campus that falls under the Delhi University dynasty. To relish in the tradition that has birthed many intellectuals, I'm privileged and feeling pride to welcome our very special guest, Dr. Shobha Bagai, Dean, Admissions, Delhi University. Ma'am, we welcome you to our virtual platform. Though this is a virtual bouquet from all of us, but I can make sure that it has all the feelings of respect and honor in them for you. Dr. Shobha Bagai is also professor at CIC, that is Cluster Innovation Center, Delhi University. She is also member of many organizations and has shared her expertise across country. Dr. Shobha has also contributed a lot in the research field and has been awarded with the Teaching Excellence Award for Innovation by University of Delhi. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing us through your presence. It really, really means a lot. Thank you, ma'am. We also have with us Dr. Haneet Gandhi, who holds the position of Deputy Dean in Admissions, DU. Ma'am, a floral welcome for you too with all the warmth in our hands and hearts. Dr. Haneet Gandhi is also faculty in the Department of Education, University of Delhi again. She is an expert in the field of mathematics education and quantitative research methods. Books on the teaching of mathematics, a subject which is fearful for all of us.
I don't know whether you're waiting for me because I got logged out. So probably you are.
Ma'am, there is some problem from Pooja's end.
Okay. Okay, so then I think, take over. I'll continue with the welcoming ceremony. I also got logged out for a moment, so I don't know what the situation is.
Ma'am, Pooja had just finished welcoming Dr. Haneek. So you
Okay.
can continue with your address
Correct.
now.
Yes. Thank you. Dear Professor Shobha Bagai, Dean of Admissions, Delhi University, Dr. Haneed Gandhi, Deputy Dean, parents, teachers, and students, warm wishes to you all on this beautiful morning. Today, we are privileged to have amongst us two such people who are at the helm of affairs at the most prestigious Delhi University. They are the Dean Admissions, Dr. Bagai, and the Deputy Dean, Dr. Gandhi. Ma'am, I welcome you both to the second day of our 10-day annual Education Expo, which we name as Infinitum 2020. Yesterday, we had the privilege to inaugurate our function through the hands of none other than Dr. Biswajit Saha, Dr. Nagpal, and Dr. Gitanjali. I would also like to share that we had 3 very successful versions of this expo in the last 3 years in our school campus. This year too, we were determined to hold it in spite of all the challenges. So, we are doing it virtually. We are literally actually bringing this year all the information regarding careers, courses, and admissions to the students' homes. We have put together for them 60 highly informative sessions from renowned organizations or institutions, universities, accomplished professionals who also happen to be our alumni. Running through the veins of the capital city, Delhi University's place remains unquestionable as thousands of students from all over the country seek admission here. We know that this university was founded in the year 1922, and the university is known for its excellent faculty and curriculum, offering a wholesome experience to its students and researchers. Therefore, sessions by Delhi University officials have always been the high point of our Education Expo and have drawn huge crowds. This year too, we have the privilege, as we know, and the honor of getting guidance from the Dean and Deputy Dean of Admissions, Delhi University. I'm sure our students and also the larger community will benefit from today's session because we will be uploading these sessions on our official school YouTube channel. Thank you, Dr. Bagai and Dr. Gandhi, for taking out time from your very busy schedules to join us in this event. We are looking forward to the information that you will be sharing. Post the address, we will also like to have a dynamic and highly valued interaction with the students and parents. So dear students, parents, and also teachers, if any of you wishes to ask a question, you can do so. I now invite our esteemed guests to the center stage as all of us are eagerly waiting to hear from you some very important details which can help our students to take informed decisions. So over to you, Dr. Bagai and Dr. Gandhi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reena, for inviting us and giving us this privilege to be a part, of your family. At the outset, let me welcome all the students who have joined in this session, and also all the students who might join us a little later, virtually maybe, through the YouTube channel when you are going to post out this recording. I also thank all the coordinators, for giving me and Dr. Haneet an opportunity to interact with the students. Being a teacher foremost, so it always gives us a pleasure when we are amongst the audience of teachers and the students. Administration, as you're well aware, just comes as a part of it. But I think at the ground level, we are all teachers. When we joined this professions, we always wanted that whatever help in whatever way, either through our teaching or through our mentoring or through our counseling, the way we could help out the younger generations, to move into the next phase of life. The students at the threshold, of their class 12th and maybe even class 11th now, because I see that most of the participants who have joined in right now in this session are from class 11th and 12th. And specifically class 12th, it has been an unusual year for them. Maybe the whole year would have passed, without their being physically present in the premises of the schools, without being in a physical contact, with their friends. And that is, I think, what they must be missing out the most. But anyhow, I think this pandemic has thrown a challenge to all of us and made us realize that we do have a potential to move out of our comfort zone and achieve something. Coming back to the topic, for which both me and my colleague have been now invited, to address the students, that is the mission admission. Now, admission to the Delhi University, yes, it is of an utmost important, specifically to the students of class 12, because in a matter of a few months, most of them will now be applying for the various colleges which are affiliated with the University of Delhi. At the beginning, let me just say this to all the students that sometimes, the media around us hypes the admission process a lot, always telling that the cutoffs have gone very high. So maybe, students, who do not score that high percentage for some reasons or the other, at the very outside, they get disheartened. So let me first of all assure all the students that, yes, in the present scenario, to some extent, the percentages do matter. But there are opportunities available, which, all of you can avail of. The undergraduate admissions of the University of Delhi, basically, as of the present, and why I'm emphasizing as of the present, because with the new education policy, that has come, it has been recommended that there be an entrance test at all level of admissions, at the undergraduate level. But to be absolutely honest, I am not very sure that that will be done in the academic session of 2021-2022. However, if we look at the current situation, we have the undergraduate courses are divided into two parts. One is what we call it as the merit-based admissions. These admissions, of course, are made based on the percentages that a student has scored in their qualifying examination, which in this case happens to be the class 12. And we also have certain courses in which the students are admitted only through a national level entrance test. To start off with the undergraduate courses for the merit-based admissions, these basically cover up, in fact, almost all our honors courses in the disciplines, which range from the honors in the art streams, which is English honors, Hindi honors, Sanskrit honors. These are your language honors courses. Then you have history honors, you have economics honors, you have geography honors. Coming to the commerce, then you have BCom honors. Coming to the sciences, you'll have physics honors, chemistry honors, mathematics honors, and so on and so forth. In the honors courses, you have a major discipline Say, for example, if I talk about maths honors, so maths becomes your major discipline. So you will have majority of the papers that you will choose through your 3 years undergraduate program. Those courses will basically be of the mathematics discipline. But apart from that, you might also have to choose certain courses which are outside the mathematics domain, because an emphasis is being laid on interdisciplinary education. Of course, the honors courses which I have named, they do not exhaust the complete list. The complete list can be got from our University of Delhi website. I might just show you a glimpse as to how do you access that and how do you access the information from the University of Delhi website. Apart from the honors courses, in the art stream, we have what is a BA program course. In a BA program course, you choose 2 disciplines, So you might choose a combination of, say, history and political science. You might choose a discipline of political science and economics. You might choose a discipline of mathematics and economics, and so on and so forth. In sciences also, we have what is called as the BSc program. So there are around 6 to 7 BSc program, and physical sciences, there's a BSc program in physical sciences, there's a BSc program in life sciences. And what all courses are covered during the 3 years curriculum, that is again available on the University of Delhi website. For the entrance-based courses right now, one of the most popular courses, is for the commerce students, which is in fact popularly known as JAT, a joint admission test. But the courses that are covered under these courses is my Bachelor of Management Sciences, BA Honors in Business Economics, and Bachelor of Financial Investment and Analysis. That, of course, is a very, very popular course amongst the commerce students. The eligibility is that you should have studied mathematics at your class 11th and 12th. And there is an entrance test. So based on the entrance test, a merit list is prepared. And from that merit list, you are allocated the various courses. 2 new courses, they were introduced in a very recent center. The center started in 2011, which is my parent center, which is the Cluster Innovation Center. One course that is given out at the Cluster Innovation Center is BTech in Information Technology and Mathematical Innovations. Of course, I had that course in Cluster Innovation Center, which we popularly call it as CIC. I'll tell you about these courses in a few minutes. The other course, that is run at CIC is BA Honors in Humanities and Social Sciences. Again, these 2 courses, you have to give a national level entrance test. This year, that test was conducted, by the National Testing Agency, NTA, the same, which conducts JEE and the NEET examination. The 4th course that I would like to talk about is a course which is given by a Delhi School of Journalism in the University of Delhi. This is a 5-year integrated program in journalism. So all those students, who have a flair for writing, who are basically interested in the journalism, area, can look at this course structure, which is available at the Delhi School of Journalism. There is another course which is offered only by the Indraprastha College, which is a bachelor's in mass communication. Again, for this course, there is an national level entrance test which is held. Of course, for the eligibility criteria, there is a cap of a percentage which is required, which is, I think, almost around 80%. And you must have studied a language, which, of course, all of you do it at the CBSE level. Apart from that, of course, students who are interested in physical education, we have this Indira Gandhi Institute of Sports, which conducts an entrance test for their BSc honors in physical education. So all those students who are interested in sports For the sports, you will also require to provide certain proficiency in sports. So anybody of you, who have participated in either a district level sports or a national level sports and want to pursue that career forward, can apply for our BSc Honors in Physical Education. And we also have a BA Honors in Music. For BA Honors in Music, there is an entrance test, but not a written entrance test. But that is a practical entrance test because, you have to perform for the music. Till last year, of course, all these performances were given offline. That means, the applicants used to visit the department personally. There was a panel of teachers who would, evaluate you. This year, of course, because of the ongoing pandemic, that evaluation was done online. Students have submitted, their performances on a YouTube, and the link of the YouTube was sent. So those are some of the entrance-based courses, which are being floated by the University of Delhi. We also have a Department of Foreign Languages where BA Honors in 4 foreign languages, are given. These are German, Spanish, Italian, and French. So, but this is again, the merit-based courses which are floated. For the merit-based courses, I think Dr. Haneet Gandhi will take you through, that how do you check whether you are eligible. There is something which we commonly call as, how do you calculate your best 4 percentages to see whether you meet the cutoffs, because, these are some of the buzzwords, that you will find associated whenever you talk about the admissions to the University of Delhi. Best 4 percentages, best 3 percentages, what is the eligibility criteria, what subjects to be included, excluded, what are the cutoffs, how do you apply for those courses. I would like to basically focus, on the 2 courses, since I belong to that discipline, and I think I forgot one of the courses which is on the entrance based, and I think I apologize to Haneet because that is her department. This was the Bachelor of Elementary Education. So Bachelor of Elementary Education, it's a 4-year course, and that is being offered by the Department of Education. And I'll request my colleague when she takes over to talk in detail about the course, which we call it as the BLEd. I would take some time, to focus on the 2 courses that are being run at the Cluster Innovation Center. One is the BTech in Mathematical IT and Mathematical Innovations. So as the name suggests, the core areas that are covered in this BTech is information technology and the mathematics. So these 2 are the core papers, which the students, by the way, this is a 4-year degree program. This is a UGC recognized program because, one of the common questions that is asked is that since it's a BTech program, it is affiliated to AICTE or not. But I would just like to inform all the students and the parents out over here that this is a UGC recognized course because this comes directly under the University of Delhi. So it is an 8-semester course. So during all the 7 semesters, and why I'm saying 7 semesters, because in the 8th semester, our students basically go out to do a major industrial internship. So during the 7 semesters, there will be compulsory at least 1 paper in information technology and mathematics that the student is required to study. Apart from these 2 major courses, the center also offers you 3 minor subjects. And those minor subjects are, you can choose subjects which are related to electronics, robotics, embedded systems. You can choose a stream, with management and economics. Or you could choose a stream from computational biology, system biology. The whole pedagogy of this course is that mathematics and IT right now, are the tools that is driving our current society, In fact, if you look at this, during all this past 8 months, what we are doing virtually, that is also because, we have these present tools of IT which is available to us, which has, let us remain connected with everybody across. So with mathematics and IT as tools, and they have their applications in a number of subjects. But of course, we have our own constraints, so naturally it cannot be open to all subjects. So three streams, where the center opens out is as I mentioned before, the robotics and the embedded system, management and economics, and the computational biology. So the whole idea is that once you have the conceptual knowledge of mathematics and IT, you also need to know that how and where these subjects can be applied. For that, it is absolutely necessary that you have certain knowledge of the other streams where, these subjects are being applied. So therefore, these courses, are being floated. Another very interesting fact about the BTech program is that a student necessarily during their 8 semesters, they necessarily have to do 3 summer internships, 3 semester-long projects, 1 major industrial internships, along with projects that are associated with every subject that is being taught at CIC. And let me lay emphasis, because somewhere or the other, the meaning of the projects, and pardon my saying that, the meaning of the project, has taken place that you do certain search on the Google, you cut and paste from the various, the websites that are available, and then you produce some document, and then you make a presentation. That is a kind of a project that, we do not do it at the Cluster Innovation Center. For us, the project basically means that instance, you look around your environment, you look around your society and see that, is there a certain issue that you would like to address to? Can that be addressed, using the tools of mathematics and IT? Let me give you an example for that. On the streets, you have the street lights that is there. Not just, if especially nowadays, since it's the winter season, if you are driving outside during the winter season, when there is slight moisture in the environment, and you see that the street lights, the beam that is coming out, try to see what shape is that beam. And using that information, especially if there are students of mathematics around, sitting in this audience, we all learn about in class 12, we teach you calculus, we teach you maximum, Can you frame that problem as to what is the height of the post that has to be there? At what distance should the street lights be posted? Can you redesign the street lamps in a certain manner so that, you optimize the lighting, which is the, basic purpose of the street pole, and minimize the cost that is being incurred? Now, this is just one example, which we take up. There is no set projects. Every year that the students are coming are doing new projects. So that is, in fact, the basic pedagogy, around which we revolve our complete course of the BTech. And of course, the students, have found at the end of the 4 years, we have a 6th batch which has passed out. So the students, they have found the placements in good companies. But we do promote that the students become entrepreneur, and most of them have also taken up that. The other course that I would like to talk about is our BA honors in humanities and social sciences. Now, when I talked about the other merit courses, so you will see that every college, do have their own logistic constraints, that if you're choosing an honors course, say, for example, if you choose political science honors, then there's only certain subjects, which are being offered to you. But in BA honors, humanities and social sciences, we call it as make your own degree. And what we mean by make your own degree is there is a freedom given that, you can choose certain courses from various colleges which are affiliated to the University of Delhi. The first semester and the last semester, of course, you necessarily do it at a center. But during the 2nd to the 5th semester, you might decide to choose 2 courses, from the Hindu college. You might decide to choose 2 courses from Venkateshwara College. You might decide to choose 2 courses from Indraprastha College, and so on and so forth. Of course, we do have our own rules and regulations. It's not just, that it's your wish and will. So, but that is what it is, that you can make your own degree. And it also gives you a freedom that, suppose, for example, you're interested in economics, but you wanted to do, side by side, you also wanted to do physics because, you are interested in something called as a metaphysics. None of the other courses will give you this combination that with economics, in your BA program or your BA honors economics, you can choose a science subject. But this course does give you a flexibility of choosing it. Here also, we have 4 streams, which is art and design, we have counseling, we have historical tourism, and we have journalism, The faculty at the CIC, in fact, will mentor you in case you want to, specialize in any of those fields. Then what are the kind of the courses that you should pick up? Say, for example, you're interested in journalism, so sometimes it becomes very important that you do have certain knowledge, maybe about the history or about the political science or about the economics, because, when you are reporting something, you also need to know that, how these subjects need to be integrated into it. Even in the BA programs, BA honors, the project, of course, forms a very, very integrated part of our course curriculum. In fact, the thing is, if you wish, I can go on and on about, the various courses that are available. I'll just take 5 more minutes, to just show you as to how do you get the information from the University of Delhi. So I'll just share my screen for the time being. Just give me 2 minutes, please. So I hope I'm visible. My screen is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, all you need to do is, because the first thing that to search is Delhi University. So you go and search for the Delhi University. And of course, you can come to the home page of the University of Delhi. So the address is du.ac.in. Right now, if you click into it, you might get this feel, because this is an unusual year where the examination of the semester and the admissions, both of them are going on. But for all other time, if you press DU website, so this is generally the portal, the landing page of the University of Delhi that comes across. In the syllabi, because in 2019-20, we have shifted to the CBCS syllabi. So the syllabi are available under the tab of the syllabi. So you can look at all these syllabus and what all are taught under each courses. But if you scroll down, you'll come across the admissions, study at DU admissions. So if you tap at admissions, under the UG admissions, so right now, because the current admissions 2020 is going on, so you will get all the information. You can come across the admission portal. This is, of course, for the registration, which has been closed as of now because we closed it. But I'm sorry. You come across, click here for admission 2020 updates. So all the updates of the UG admission for the current year are available over here. What are the various cutoffs that had come out? What are the various notifications and the current bulletin of information. So of course, you'll need to scroll down because, that we had posted it a long time back. This is available over here, the UG Bulletin of Information 2020 in English or Hindi. So when you come to the English and over here in section 2, the merit-based admission to undergraduate courses, the details, of all the eligibility criteria is given. And of course, if anybody wants to look at it, there are certain examples which are also given that how do you calculate the best 4. This is... it was somewhere over here anyhow, because Haneet will be taking up that, so I leave it for her to in fact do it. But this is exactly where you get all the information, and in case you want to look at, any other admissions guidelines which were there in the previous years, so you can look at these archives also of UG admission 2019, 18, 17, 16 and 15. One word of the caution, all the authentic information are generally posted on the website of the University of Delhi. We find that there are a number of YouTube channels present, number of website presence, which do give out information, and sometimes these are helpful also. But always try to supplement that with the exact information which is given on the website. We sometimes find that students do come up with the grievances, that on certain channel or certain website, certain information was given, which was not genuine, or because, our policies had changed. So, that no longer was valid. So that's a word of caution to everybody. And I think I'll stop right now. I think I've taken quite a lot of time now. So... and we'll discuss anything else further in our interaction session, if you wish. So over to you, Pooja, or I'll request Haneet from the administration side to come in fact.
Hi, so am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Thanks. I think I should, this is, as Professor Bhagai said, that it's always a privilege to talk to students, although we're missing the face-to-face interaction. Nevertheless, since we're all teachers, we miss talking to students, and thank you to DAV Shalimar Bagh to invite both of us and be part of this small virtual interaction with your students and with your teachers. Professor Bhagai had shared a lot of things related to admissions at Delhi University. Well, one thing that she missed regarding CIC, this is a modest way of talking. She didn't mention that this year, a couple of her students won the 3rd position in the government-initiated hackathon. And we're very proud of that. Delhi University is very proud that and these were her students who came up on the first 3 positions in the hackathon initiative that the government has taken. And so congratulations, Dr. Bhagai, for that. There's some problem. Just give me. Thanks, Aneet. So CIC,
congratulations. Yeah.
Many. Oops.
I think the signal is gone.
There is some network issue. I think
Yeah.
there is some network issue at ma'am's site.
Yes. So maybe we can wait for a second. Maybe she will join
Yeah,
again.
yeah, we should. Yes.
Am I there?
I think you're there now.
See, this is what happens on online. We were just discussing. My laptop suddenly started shutting down and it started a restart. So I've joined from my mobile. So you won't be able to see me because I'm sorry for this glitch. Till the time my laptop starts functioning again, I'll join from my mobile. So let me just take you to, now I was all prepared on my laptop to show you all the slides. I think I'll have to cut it short because of this little glitch. But anyways, I'll just speak out of the key essential things that you must take into consideration when you're trying to, if you're trying to apply to Delhi University. See, the admissions usually, this year has been a very unusual year because of many things. So we started a bit late, and we don't know for 2021, probably we might start, the registration process usually starts in the month of March. Earlier, it used to start in the month of March, and 21 days were usually given for the registration process. 2020, we had to delay it for many, many reasons. In 21, we don't know yet that, when we would start, but let's assume that even if we start in April or May, you will get sufficient time to register yourself. It's a very simple process. The registration is a very, very simple process. We give usually the processes, whenever we start, all media is absolutely, they have their eyes on Delhi University website always. So it does get popularized through the daily newspapers whenever the registration starts for Delhi University. So if you're a little vigilant, it's unlikely that you would miss doing registration on the university portal. Usually the process is, you're given around 21 days to do your registration. While doing the registration, it's a very simple and a student-friendly portal. Only need to have a genuine email ID. So create one if you do not have one till now. Create an email ID, keep a phone ready with you, a photograph, and any certificate that you might need for your category certification. If you are, so for example, if you belong to a Sikh minority, you might need a Sikh minority certificate. If you're from any reserved category, you might need to have that. All the, if you're an OBC, you might require to have a certificate updated on the current financial year. For next year, your certificate should be after 30th of March 2021. So whenever the registration process starts, these are some of the, you request your parents. Obviously, you would be busy with your board exams. Plus, please tell your parents to get your certificates done on time so that you do not miss out just because of the certificates. So when you log on to the portal, you give your essential details, basic essential details, and you upload your mark sheet. Since the mark sheet is not available because you people are from CBSE, so Delhi University is tied up with many other boards like CBSE, Haryana board, UP board, and we keep writing to them. So your class 12 certificates or the mark sheet, we get it from the DigiLocker also. So this is, you only have to put in your valid roll number, the CBSE roll number, and everything else can be extracted directly from the CBSE portal. We do that. So as I said, you would be given around 21 days usually. We usually, it's 21 days, but it does get extended. But don't take it so lightly कि last को 21st day पे ही log in करेंगे क्योंकि कुछ money payment भी involved होता है. It's very minimum, 250 rupees if you're coming for a merit-based test. And if you want to give any entrance, let's say, for example, DUJAT for BMS, BFA, or BLEd, if you wish to take an entrance test, then obviously the fees is accordingly. So for I think since the national education policy is also under process, and Professor Bhagai is also part of that. Not this year, but maybe not for you, but eventually there will be an entrance test for all the admissions. But for 2021, I don't see this happening it so soon. So we would continue with the same process as merit-based and entrance-based. You have to register for both merit and entrance, but it's a single registration ID. So form आपका एक ही रहेगा, उसी के अंदर आप दोनों या जितने भी आप एंट्रेंस देना चाहें आप उसको क्लिक कर सकते हैं. That is how it goes. Regarding for merit-based admissions, as Professor Bhagai said, it is based on the percentage that you have obtained in class 12th. Now, you must be studying more than at least more than 4 subjects for sure. So some of you may be having 5 subjects, some of you may be having 6 subjects with PE or any other work experience, for example, painting or any other work experience, dance, theater, printing. So these are also some of the supplementary subjects that you do. But these subjects, you have to be very careful while you're looking at the eligibility. See, usually in most of the cases, we take best of 4. And this year's eligibility, if you look at, you will come to know how these best 4 are calculated. One language, of course, is an essential in calculating best 4 for most of the BA program, BA honors courses. I'll talk about the BSc honors courses a little later, just subsequent to when I finish with BA honors. BA honors means economics honors, political science honors, history honors, geography, so on and so forth. So for these papers, you need to have one language, and then you need to have 3 best academic or elective subjects, which includes history, your commerce subjects, or your accountancy, business studies, history, geography, so on and so forth. So you need to have one of these subjects. Best of 4, which means in one language and any 3 academic subjects. If you do not wish to include, so for example, if you've got less marks in any one subject and you do not wish to include, you may include a subject other than this from another list, so which is like painting. But to include that, there is some kind of a proration that is done, which means if the theory part is more than 70% and the practicum part, the practicum part is more than 70%. So we do a bit of a proration to make it equalize to a 70% theory and 30% practicum. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll give you examples. Also, my laptop is just about to start. And the minute it starts, I can show you some examples also. Although these examples are there on the website as well. So if you wish to see how the best 4 and best 3 are calculated, we've taken many examples in the Bulletin of Information under FAQs, as well as a list of examples have been demonstrated on the website as well. Along with this, whenever you fill, we've also tried to give, for the help of the students, we've also tried to give a suggestive percentage on their dashboard. So if you filled your marks correctly, then you will also, the computer will automatically calculate your best 4 or best 3. But if you've not entered your marks in the correct order, which is required, obviously the algorithm is, the computer is not smart enough to differentiate that. So it all depends. If you've done a correct entry of marks, the computer will do it as in a very accurate way. It will tell you about your best 4 and best 3. For sciences honors, for example, physics honors, chemistry honors, maths honors, you are required to give your best 3, which means in physics, chemistry, maths, usually that's the combination. I'm not going into too much of details of this because our eligibility criteria might change this year. And so this is what we've been following till now. But for you, it might get a little more refined and there may be some slight changes, but it's going to be for the betterment of all our students. So this will... yes, so very soon, but the eligibility criteria will be uploaded very soon. By February, we are hopeful and we are working on it so that we publish it. Then you can have a fairly good idea on how you have to calculate your eligibility and for what subjects you are eligible for. That is it. Regarding the cutoffs, as Professor Bhagai said, that do not get dissuaded or disheartened when you see high percentages in the cutoff. If you see the current cutoff, we have gone till 7th cutoff we've already completed, and we might have to come out with an 8th cutoff. And people usually do get, if you've got a decent percentage, you usually get a subject and a college of your choice. The first 2 cutoffs usually are very high. We agree to that, but they do fall. They do gradually start falling, and we see that the seats get filled with the meritorious candidates. One word of caution here, because we get this question from many people. So we'll just tell you that there is no quota for domicile, which means that even if you belong to Delhi, that you do not get any benefit from that, because Delhi University is a central university. So we take applications from all across the country, from all the boards. And so Delhi University, we do not have any such reservation for Delhi domicile people, which usually is done in the state universities, such as Indraprastha University or Ambedkar. They may have some reservation for Delhi domicile. Delhi University does not entertain this aspect. Coming to the course that Professor Bhagai mentioned, the BLEd. the full form for BLEd is Bachelor of Elementary Education. So it's called BLEd. It's an acronym of B for Bachelor's, EL for Elementary, and ED for Education, BLEd. Just a sorry state is that this course is only offered for girl candidates. So any of you young ladies here, you wish to become teachers till the elementary level can take this class, but boys, currently the colleges are not offering for boys. So this course is usually run in 8 colleges of Delhi University, which include LSR, JMC, Miranda, Aditi Mahavidyalaya, Mata Sundari, IHE, Gargi, and I'm forgetting one more. Okay, anyway, it'll come to my mind very soon. So these are some of these 8 colleges are offering admission to BLEd. The admission is done through an entrance-based platform. So you have to fill for this course and qualify an entrance. We do not consider class 12th marks to become a elementary to qualify BLEd, and it all depends upon the entrance-based marks. So girls who get admitted to BLEd, they become teachers at the elementary level, which means till class 8th. You're qualified to become a teacher until class 8th level. It's a very comprehensive 4-year course because it talks about the pedagogy or nuances of dealing with young children, and it also talks about it also deals with one subject specification in which you specialize. The course was started in 1994, so it's been, the course is now well established, and many of our, and I'm sure your principal ma'am knows about this program because many of our students get good recruitments in all government as well as private schools for elementary classes, for teaching elementary classes till class 8th. And this is one course that is, we are proud of this course. More information you can find it on our website, education department website, which is doe.du.ac.in. DOE stands for Department of Education. You can get more information regarding this there. Coming back to admissions, as Professor Bagai, I think we can't say much also regarding your eligibility because we know it might change. But however, to have an idea of how, more or less to get an idea, all our prospectus and earlier bulletin of information are there on the website. That will give you an idea. So you can start preparing for it. And very soon when the next list of eligibility are out, you will be able to do it. We will definitely, Delhi University is always very sensitive. We know your young children and we admire your we know that your innocence. So we try to bring out as student-friendly bulletin of information as possible, giving various examples, giving various processes on how to calculate the best 4 and best 3. But my only request to all of you is do read or ask your parents at least to read the bulletin of information completely. Most of the issues that emerge is because of not reading the bulletin of information. So when students or parents make mistake in applying within the cutoffs or calculating their marks, it's usually they have not read the bulletin of information. So our earnest appeal to all of you is to read the bulletin of information very carefully. It's a very user-friendly document, so please do not be afraid of it. We try to put it in both English as well as Hindi medium so that अगर आपको अंग्रेजी में नहीं समझ में आ रहा है तो आप हिंदी में भी उसका रूपांतर देख सकते हैं और वहां से भी आप अपनी कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं percentages. Most of the people who miss out are usually because they have not read the bulletin of information carefully. So that's like, I would say, like a Bible to refer to, and do not miss reading that. There is a process of doing cutoffs as well. People do mistake when looking at the cutoffs also. I think that we can come up later because right now you will be more anxious of your boards and meeting the eligibility. However, this year, because we were going through an unprecedented situation, we did a lot of webinars and open houses with the students. All these webinars are there on the Delhi University website. Even if you've not, if you're feeling lazy to read the Bulletin of Information right now, you can look at these videos or the webinars which are there on the Delhi University website, which Professor Bhagai had showed you. Underneath that, there was she just clicked and it went off, but there is a webinar. I'll just show you since my laptop is just coming up. So there is a series of webinars that we had done. Those webinars are available on our Facebook page also. Delhi DU admissions on, if you look at the Facebook channel that's there, and also on the YouTube channel that we have. So these webinars will give you a quick virtual tour of Delhi University admissions. And you can take a look at these webinars which are currently available. And yes, do look at, for all authentic information, please refer to the website and try. Information from other sources is appreciated, but sometimes we realize that it does give wrong information as well. There are helpful websites which do give authentic information, but to have the most accurate and authentic information, you should come only to Delhi University website. That is it. I think till the time we take up questions, I'll just quickly try to open up my laptop and connect. Professor Bhagai, over to you if you would like to add something.
Thank you, Hannah. And I'll ask the administrator if there are any questions for us. We'll be happy to answer them.
So thank you, ma'am, for the informative session. I think we all were looking forward to it. So now I invite Ms. Upma Bandula to take over the session from here and start with the question answer round and vote of thanks. Over to you, Upma ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Now this is the time, dear students, to enrich yourself with more information from the esteemed guest. Though many of your questions have already been answered because it was such an elaborated but still we have received a number of questions from you. So now I invite Pranav Kaur to ask his question, but all of you please be attentive and listen carefully because it might be your query too. So Pranav, you can ask your question.
Good morning to all our guests and to the viewers at YouTube. And I would like to pose my question as for the opportunities after I complete my CIC, if I choose to do it BTech in CIC. That is, I would like to ask, that is 6 batches have now passed in BTech, right? So what opportunities have they actually got and what packages with they are standing with? I would like to ask from oh, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranav. And yeah, I think, this generation is quite interested in what packages they will get in. But I will refrain from saying the packages. But, let me tell you one thing. What matters the most is, because yes, these are also hyped, that you will come to know that an applicant from the X College of the Engineering has received a package of, so many lakhs per annum.
I can understand, yes.
But, again, I would like to warn all the students that these are all outliers that the media generally hypes. The students, the opportunities that the students have got is, in case, first of all, it's a very, very limited batch. Till last year, the batch strength was only about 40 students. And of course, this year, because of certain expansions, we have increased it to 50 students. The students, who preferred going in for a job have, gone into various companies. And these, of course, includes Paytm. This includes Google. This includes MyTech, right? So these are some of the companies where the students have gone in. The students who are interested in higher studies have also gone in for their higher studies, and this include not only in India, but outside India. And in fact, if I might say, our students now, in fact, are almost got into it through almost all the high-rated colleges outside India also. the basic reason for them at least getting selected, for the higher education is because of this unique blend, that is actually there in CIC. And if I may say so with all honesty, I think the other institutes are yet to get into that. The new education policy talks about, talking about hands-on, talking about, interdisciplinarity. This is something which was already integrated almost, when we started in 2011. So, CIC had also already conceptualized that. Okay. We have had, I think, 3 very successful ventures. There are students' own startup ventures which have come out of CIC. And when I talk about, 3, the number may look minimal, but, I'm assuming since you are a BTech, you're asking about BTech.
I am from North background.
Yeah. So the thing is, you will be from mathematics, and mathematics, you will understand that it is not the absolute numbers which makes a difference. It is the relative numbers, So in 3 years, if 3 startups have come out, that's a great achievement, for CIC. There is a Google Summer Code, Google Code of Summer, GSOC that is called. There, the CIC students, have one of the highest percentage of success out over there. So these are some things, that have come out. Yes, a warning I would like to give is we do not have a placement cell as CIC. There is a placement cell at the University of Delhi. But as I mentioned before, that the students, since they have gone through these projects, these internships, through their previous 3 years. So by the time a 4th year comes, they generally do get placed in that company. And right now, our alumni which have passed out and the companies that they are working in, they are quite satisfied with the kind of the students that we produce, and they come back to us that we need such students more from the institute. So that is in fact very, very heartening for CIC.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So I hope that answers your question.
CIC is actually providing such opportunities, though we are, in a hurry for competing in JEE. But thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
So next we have Vaibhav Rawat. Vaibhav?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Good morning, ma'am. Myself, Vaibhav Rawat, and I am from non-medical background with CS. Ma'am, actually, I wanted to say that although I am from science background, I've always been fascinated by the management world and how it works. But there are a lot of stereotypes, like you shouldn't jump to straight away management after your 12th, or you shouldn't pursue management because you are from science background and for commerce. Ma'am, but I think it is a great way to grow as a person, and it changes your way of how you see life, how you take things, and how you live your life. If you could say something on that, and also if you could elaborate the DUJAT admission process.
Okay, Hanis, would you like to take up that, or should I go along?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad to know that, and this is for all the parents out over there, that in case, there are students like, the name that is coming up for him is, I don't know what your name is, I can't see that. Vaibhav, right? So students like Vaibhav, who are very, very keen, and if they make up their mind out of class 10 that there is a certain career that they want to pursue, this is for all the parents out over there, do let them do that. Having said that, if you are a science student, I myself, was from a non-medical stream, of course. So without any biasness, I can say, that sometimes taking up these science streams, does open up the logical thinking processes also. And these are required in the management stream. In case you have mathematics, and I'm sure because you're from the non-medical science side, you would have had mathematics as one of these subjects. You can appear for the JAT examination.
Yes,
the 3 courses that are covered, of course, under the JAT is, one is the Bachelor's in Management Sciences, which is again one of the most sought after courses. But yes, just doing a BMS, may not be very suffice if you want to be successful in your career. You will have to follow. I mean, you'll have to top it up with a master's MBA, in fact, from that course. The other is the BA honors in business economics, right? That is if case you are very, very keen on doing economics, and the other is the financial investment and analysis. So that is basically, if the economics and the investment part, it interests you. In case you want to go in for the management, so when you are planning to take up management, I assume that, you want to pursue your MBA after finishing your undergraduate. And, you want to take up a job in the management stream, in any of the companies, or maybe in the government sectors, it could be the PSU. It always, because there is so much of specialization involved these years, in your current generation, because, in our decade used to have MBA, there were only two streams available, one was management and the other was finance, right? Marketing and finance, right? Now, if you look at the MBA, the specialization, in fact, you would at least see that each college, they offer at least 6 to 7 different courses. One of them, strategic alignment is another one of them, then IT is another one of them. Now, what is your interest? It's sometimes, you'll be able to make a better choice if before going in for your master's, you do have a work experience of a year or 2. That makes a difference. And, JEE, of course, if after taking non-medical, I'm sure that pressure must also be on you, that do give your JEE, see whether you can get into an engineering stream or not. After doing your engineering, you do get a placement. There is no doubt about that. And that helps you to get a placement. But even after doing these undergraduate programs, you may not be getting a very highly paid job, but good enough to get you a sense or to get you a job, so that you are at least able to decide that, in what field you need to specialize in. So there is no stopping, because the eligibility basically requires that you need to have studied mathematics. Yes. But in case you want to skip over to the BCom programs, of the University of Delhi, there are certain deductions, if you have not taken certain courses, maths, economics, accountancy, business studies, these are the courses that they prefer. In case you do not have, there's a slight deduction that is incurred, but that was for this year. The things are changing. So let's see what's going to happen, after you plan to join in 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next, thank you. And the next question is from our faculty member, Ms. Latika Agarwal.
Okay. Good morning, Dr. Bagai. We had a very interesting session where you've answered most of the queries, but this is regard to the new, the BA Honors in Humanities and Social Science, which you brought up. And you said specifically that here a child can choose a very good combination of subjects. So I just want to know, because I teach humanities and I have to deal with queries from students. So what is the advantage if I take this kind of a combination later on, like after doing my graduation, when I want to go in for post-graduation? Will I be allowed to do an MA in Pol Science if I've taken a combination of probably political science and some other subject in this BA Honors in Humanities and Social Sciences?
Okay, so to answer that question, yes, the students are going in for their masters also. So that is what I was, when I, during the presentation, I did mention that, the faculty over here, they act more as a mentor. So the first semester, of course, it's common. So we have basic social sciences subjects, which is covered up in the social science stream. By the way, I think I can mention the website where the details of CIC can be got. That is ducic.ac.in. So you'll have the structure of both the courses for BTech and the BA Honors available out over there. So in case a student, wishes to pursue their masters in any one of the disciplines, say political science, as you mentioned. So, the general criteria is in the eligibility is that certain number of papers a students must have studied, related to that subject. So that's a kind of a counseling that we give the students. If the case the students say that, look, I am basically interested in going over here. So what all courses from what all colleges, they can choose, which will, help the students to follow up the masters after that. So that is a kind of a counseling which is given, that these are all the courses that you can take it up in the next, because 4 semesters, they can choose the various courses from the colleges. And of course, the basic social sciences papers are being taught at the Cluster Innovation Center, which more or less, in fact, fits into all the social sciences postgraduate degrees that are there. So it also helps in a student, to account those subjects, when they want to pursue their masters.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. And just one more query regarding this applied maths, which was started. Last year, DU was not accepting that for BCom honors and certain subjects, but I believe this year it is, but not economics honors. I just want to clarify.
I'll tell you in detail. See, CBSE had applied mathematics listed under their vocational courses, right? Okay. In 2020, that means the students of the 11th standard, for them, the applied mathematics, because CBSE has revised their curriculum, made it a little more rigorous, and from the 2020 for the 11th year students, this course is now being available in their academic subjects, right? Okay. So the applied mathematics course, which was under the vocational courses, till the previous years, that of course, because that syllabus was not found suitable either for any of those science courses where the mathematics is required, or for economics honors, or for BCom honors, or for the maths honors. But the current syllabus, which the CBSE has introduced in class 11th, lots of queries had come, and we did send it out to all our, the department's heads. But by the time, their answers came back, I think the sessions, and when the students had to make a choice, that had already been done. But the Department of Mathematics has agreed, to find to take the applied mathematics as eligible for your maths honors. BCom honors has found that syllabus, is valid enough to be included as, an option instead of mathematics, so that any student who has studied this current syllabus of applied mathematics will be able to take admissions into the BCom honors. For economics and for the science subject, we are still having discussions with the departments, trying to convince them, because I personally feel, and since I am also from a mathematics background, I personally feel that at least for our economics also, the syllabus that has been framed from the applied mathematics should be well enough for any students who wants to pursue their economics honors. Anybody who wants to pursue, something in sciences, especially the BSc honors, physics, where mathematics is required. There, of course, there are certain topics which has been dropped in applied mathematics. So any students who wants to pursue a field in sciences, for them, I would advise that they take up the usual mathematics syllabus. But anybody who wants to pursue a career in either maths honors or BCom honors or economics honors, where maths is an essential, a part for the eligibility criteria, they may, for BCom honors and mathematics, they can certainly take up applied mathematics. For eco honors, we should be able to, I think, be able to do it, but nothing promised as of now.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think if we offer it this year for our 11th, it is still 2 years away. By that time, I'm sure you would have convinced them probably, for...
yeah, but I do not know in case they live, because we are already in this December. So if the 11th class students who have already chosen applied mathematics.
Right? No, ma'am, we will be offering for next session now. We haven't offered it for this session. So 21. So by that time,
yes, by that time, there'll be a much clearer picture.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
To advise that. Thank you.
So now, next question is from our student Shreya Mehra. Shreya?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Shreya.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, I wanted to ask that between BMS and Economics Honors, which is a more professional course and which scope is more in the upcoming years?
Hanit, would you like to take it up, especially from, you know, the educational point of view?
See, Shreya, this is in the education or being as a teacher, I don't think so we can compare or it is justified for us to compare. I can only tell you, if I don't know for what purpose are you looking an answer for as well. One, of course, is related to more practical approach, and economics honors there's a slight difference in the bent of the way the two courses are dealt with. Economics honors leads more towards a theoretical as well as a practical understanding. There is a legacy to this course because it's a very old course as compared to BMS, and BMS is, as compared, I'm just comparing the two. I don't think so. I can give you a clear-cut right or a wrong answer that this is the correct question, paper, or that's a wrong or not too much widely accepted. Both papers are attracting the attention of many people, and it all depends on the personal choice. If you wish to go for higher studies in academics, let's say masters in economics, then obviously you should be doing BA honors economics. And however, if you want to have more of a managerial approach and you want to do MBA, you should be doing BMS. Although, you can do MBA even after economics honors. So, as being I don't know. I can't answer that there's something right or wrong, or which is more, which attracts jobs more. Both. I think we've had an equally good representation from industry, as well as our students to get placed. From both the courses, students get good placements.
Okay.
Ma'am, it's just like comparing the two children of the same mom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very difficult, definitely. Very
Yeah,
difficult.
I don't think so. So we've got this question from many people, and I don't think so. But to be, if you want to make a choice between the two, do look at the syllabus of both the papers, which is there on the Delhi University website, and then then see which attracts you more, which is the one which appeals you more, and then take a decision. So definitely you must take a look at the syllabus which is there. Yes, Professor Bhagai, you want to add something to this? I couldn't answer this correctly in a dichotomous way, right or wrong.
Because I knew there was no right answer, and therefore I think I took this liberty of putting my colleague on the spot. Because Shreya, this actually depends upon forget about which will have a better career option. Any subject in which you are passionate about. Right? If you're passionate about, when you do well in that subject, there is a career option open for you. Right? So that depends upon your passion, your choice. If you're interested in the management stream, go in for the BMS. If economics is something, which interests you, which passion, you're passionate about it, let that passion come from within and let that be the deciding factor in choosing your subject. I was very, very passionate about mathematics. Come whatever may be, I did not, because, I am from a DAV background. So my schooling is from a DAV school. My college is from a DAV college. I did not want to give up mathematics. Unfortunately, mathematics was available only in the co-ed college, and I had to forcibly take physics and chemistry with it. I said, fine. So let that passion, whether you want to follow something, let it come from within you.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All the best.
So Divyanshi, you want to ask your question?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I'm from Commerce stream, and my question is that will the option of admission through entrance exam, like if it is introduced, will be available in all DU colleges or in selected colleges under special circumstances? And will there be any other alternatives available?
Your voice wasn't quite clear. If I heard you correctly, I think you asked whether if we go for an entrance, will it be centrally or will it be college-based? Is that what your question, Divyanshi?
Yes, ma'am. Like if we will go for entrance exam, will it be available in all DU colleges or in some selected colleges?
No, so the entrance exams are centrally done for all colleges, and and the merit is also based on a centralized basis. For example, DU JAT or BLA that we just talked about, these are offered in some colleges, but test एक ही होता है. उसके बाद आपकी merit के हिसाब से और आपने जो preference भरी होती है, based on that you are allotted the colleges. Centrally hota hai. It's not college based. Delhi University, one test.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
We have another faculty member, Miss Sonia Gill. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. Good morning, Professor Bagai. Now, first of all, I must congratulate and thank you for such a very informative session regarding the admissions to Delhi University. But ma'am, my question is not regarding admissions. Just now, ma'am Hani told that your team bagged the first 3 positions in hackathon. And since, congratulations, a big congratulations to you. And since you are also heading the Cluster Innovation Center, right? And ma'am, I must tell you that in our school, we have a very well functioning ATL lab. And we were among the first schools who were, given the grant to start this ATL lab. And since then, we are striving hard. And we are trying to involve more and more students in the ATL lab. And I'm also in charge of the ATL lab. So ma'am, can in any way we can collaborate with your center so that our students can benefit from whatever is being done there?
Surely, in fact, at our center, we have various schools, which bring their class, especially their class 11th and their 12th students. And, since, as I said, that our expertise is in mathematics and IT. We do have a very active robotics lab also in our center, which is being managed by the students themselves, and a very interesting structure we have for the robotics lab. So we have the senior students, they start mentoring the junior students, and that's how the knowledge is, passed on from one to the other. So you'll be amazed to know we do not have any technical lab out over there. I, of course, take charge of that, but with no knowledge of robotics per se, but our students are doing it. And we do have that many schools, they do get the students to our center. We do have sessions. Unfortunately, yes, this year, I think the physical sessions may not be possible. But, in case you do want to have certain sessions, maybe for the your ATL lab, with our faculty members and the students, do let us know. I think we can arrange them. Unfortunately, what happens is that at this time of the year, the students, are going in for their semester examination. They will get free basically in the first week of December and January. And वो थोड़ा सा जो winter का issue होता है, that I think it's a little mismatch between the university and the schools, because the schools in the month of January and February, the class 12 students, they get busy with their reviews and their boards, and then they're out. But yes, if you're looking at a little long term, generally, the schools do prefer, for their visits or their interaction sometimes in the month of August. August is a month, that we have found out to be more productive, because the next session has started in the university, and the schools are also, not very near to their reports and the boards. So in case any such interaction is required at CIC, we can certainly arrange that.
Okay, ma'am. Do you have any scheduled plan also for the interaction with the schools?
No, we don't believe in making a plan for that. These are all spontaneous, and when you are spontaneous, so there is, we always try to come out with something new every time. So
Okay.
whenever you want, you can ask us. And in case there is any particular area that you want to interact with us, we'll be happy to do that too.
Right, ma'am. I wish that the schools they open soon, so we'll
Yes.
come and visit your center. But meanwhile, we'll be in touch with you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Now we have another student, Lavanya Singh, waiting for a very long time. Lavanya.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning. I'm from Humanities stream. I would like to ask that if you can provide information on sports quota or extracurricular activity quota for admissions, and if I can pursue psychology as a minor subject in my honors.
Haneet?
Okay. See, Lavanya, till last year, we do have two kind of quota. These are supernumerary seats in our courses. One belongs to the sports aspirants, and the other is related to extracurricular activities, which include many activities which are listed on the website, including theatricals, dance, debate. So there are many a list of activities which each college offers. Usually the admission to the sports and the ECA category was based on trials, which means students had to fill this till last year. This was the procedure, and then there used to be trials. This year, as you know, it was the situations were such that we could not do social gatherings or trials. We had to we had to rely on the certificates that students have gathered over some couple of years. So let's say last 3 years. So if you're pursuing any sports or any extracurricular activity, it is believed that you would have participated at various levels. So based on the certificates that you had produced, we had asked students to produce the certificates, and based on the certificates, there was a ranking procedure. There were marks allotted to the level of participation. So for example, if you've represented India abroad in an international event and have taken back some kind of a position in it, there was some set of marks, credit was given to that, and so on and so forth. If it is a zonal presentation, then marks were given according to that. Based on your certificates, the merit was prepared. Along, if there are tie, then there are tie-breaking rules, which is also there on the website. So suppose there are 20 people on one particular mark, we had to apply a tie-breaking process. Which was based on their best 4 or best 5, so on and so forth. So once you get this merit list, then you are asked to give your preferences of college and the course that you wish to pursue. Now these seats are earmarked. If you look at the seat matrix, it's a very elaborate seat matrix. It's a very huge big sheet in which you get these seat matrix ki kis sport mein kitni seats available hai. Then you make a choice according to your merit. You are given that particular college and course that you've opted for. So this is what we had to switch over. This year we had to make this change. Next year again, this year we know अभी तो कोई sports ही नहीं हुआ होगा आपके batch में तो कोई sports और ECA curricular activity शायद हुई ही नहीं है. So I think we'll have to with your batch, since you're in class 12th, I can see you're in class 12F. So now when you will come, we will have to do some changes regarding sports and ECA. And we really don't know what it would, because इस साल तो कोई certificate होगा ही नहीं, sports हुआ ही नहीं है इस साल तो कोई certificate भी नहीं होगा, trials तो definitely नहीं होंगे. For last 2 years में मतलब 20 का भी कुछ trial नहीं होगा, 21, 19 and 20 दोनों के trials नहीं होंगे. So we'll have to think of something more constructive for these two quota. What was your second question? Something related to psychology. What was that?
Ma'am, if
you can take psychology as a minor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think you were talking about a BA program. So in BA program, there are many combination of subjects. Various colleges have offered them. Some do have psychology with, let's say, math, psychology with this. So do look at that and look at the college combinations in BA program. There are also 2 other courses which are based purely on psychology. One is BA Applied Psychology and the other is BA Honors Psychology. So these 2 subjects are, these are 2 honors courses based on psychology. And there are BA program also which have psychology as a subject.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Upma, your mic is not on. Upma, your mic.
Sorry, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now I can see two raised hands by our faculty members. One, Miss Meru Chandna, and second by Miss Pooja Yadav. Meru? Pooja, you want to ask something?
Thank you, ma'am, for the informative session again. I really want to know, like, because it's a university thing, you do conduct a lot of seminars and webinars, but is it possible for universities to share their information bulletins time to time with the school also? Because it keeps on updating. That's one thing that I want to know. And secondly, there is a lot of confusion between students among the ranking of the colleges. So, do you create a ranking procedure? There is some kind of a way that you look out for, so that I can guide the students being a counselor, that though we keep on guiding that it's not about a college, it's about the course. But there are things like in Delhi University, what I have recently came to know, that faculties are not permanent now, especially in the South campuses. So I want to highlight the issue and want to ask you that what is being taken, how is it being taken care at your campus?
So I think, Pooja, being a counselor, you have touched on certain very sensitive cases. At the outset, let's make it very clear that in the University of Delhi, we do not have any ranking of the colleges. The ranking of the colleges are being done by certain external agencies, on certain points. But as far as the University of Delhi is considered, all the colleges, which are affiliated to the University of Delhi are at par. That is one thing, which I would like to make it very, very clear from the university sides. The second thing is, I think you are absolutely correct, in counseling the applicants, that it is the course choice, which is much more important rather than the college choice. Because the course is something that you're going to carry with you throughout your life. That is going to affect, your career choices. And as I was, talking to another applicant, I think she was Shreya before, that, you have to be passionate about any course. If you're passionate about that course, given whatever circumstances you are in, you are certainly going to shine, because, that at least makes you happy about it. So that is another thing. Talking about the bulletin of information, I think that's a very, very useful suggestion. Maybe, we can think about a mechanism in which the bulletin of information, or at least the link of the bulletin of information can be shared with the schools. And because the schools, they do have their database of the students, who have passed out of class 12. And they can, in fact, help us in disseminating this information to all the students of class 12. That's a welcome suggestion, and we shall certainly think about a mechanism for doing that. The next issue that, you touched upon were the faculty not being permanent. So that, I think that is an issue which, has been lingering on, and there are certain factors, which I don't think it will be appropriate if we discuss it at this level. But apart from that, when I said in my first point that all colleges, as far as the university is concerned, are treated as same, it basically comes from there, because a college, at the end of the day, apart from their infrastructure, it also depends upon the faculty members, which are employed over there. These faculty members, they're all coming from the same common pool. So therefore, since there is not much of a difference, between all faculty members, these are all well qualified, experienced and expertise, in their own subjects. So the faculty members are equal in all the colleges. Yes, some colleges, have over the past years, because of their history, these are very, very old colleges. Some of the colleges are older than, in fact, the University of Delhi themselves. So over the years, they have built up their names, and they have built up this pool of alumni. Whereas colleges, which have been recently set up, they will take time maybe to catch up with them. And that is why, we keep telling all the students that all colleges are at par. Now, having said that, and off the record, you are all young blood, the students sitting over here. You would have yourself realized that, that if a person of my age, I may be now in the second or the third generation from your generation, if we have to cope up with the changes that the society, the environment is requiring from us, in terms of, because again, being from a mathematics, I like to speak in a mathematical term, the changes that are happening are exponential right now during the past decade or so. And maybe, we are not able to catch up with the changes as quickly as the younger generation, are able to do that. And the same metaphor, in fact, also applies to our, when I could talk about the younger colleges, these are the colleges which have been created recently, So since, they have been created recently, so they have been able to implement the changes in a faster rate than a few of the other colleges. So therefore, each and every college, they will have their pluses, they will have their minuses. So again, an advice to all the audience sitting over here, kindly do not go on to the ranking. Please look at the course that you are interested into it and work towards, achieving to get admission into that course rather than the college.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering with this, because I was asking on the behalf of the students that keep on coming to me. And Upma ma'am, can I ask one more question?
Please, I think Meru is also in the waiting. No problem.
Yeah. I just wanted to know, Dr. Shobha and Dr. Hani, that there are students, like we always say that the cutoffs are going very high for Delhi University, which is going to be true. It seems that it's not going to come down. So are you thinking of adding up few more courses in non-collegiate and correspondence courses, or the list is going to remain same?
Pooja, I'm so glad, because, after I finished talking, I had suddenly realized that there was these two aspects that I think both me and Haneet had missed out during our presentations. One was, of course, the Non-Collegiate Women's Education Board. The Non-Collegiate Women's Education Board, yes, again, this is strictly for the girls candidates. And I think Haneet had mentioned earlier that, we do not have reservations for the Delhi students, but in the Non-Collegiate Women Education Board, this course is available only for the girl students, who reside and they have the proper residential proof of the National Capital Territory. School of Open Learning, of course, is a distance. It's it's an institute which offers these courses in the distance learning mode. Right now, because these are very specific, a target that these institutes are catering to. So therefore, the number of courses, that are being offered is basically, on the popularity. The other is, the courses which can be run into the distance mode, because you will see that in the School of Open Learning that the science courses are not offered, because in the distance learning mode, it becomes difficult when you're talking about at a higher level, when you talk about, conducting experiments and so on and so forth. But with the new courses coming, I do see a possibility of certain courses being added to these two institutes, but I think that remains to be seen in the future.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for answering.
Meru?
Yeah.
Do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. Thanks a lot for a very, very interactive and informative session. I'm Mrs. Meru Chanav, senior physics teacher from the school. Many of my students, they want to become a lecturer once they complete their BSc in physics, chemistry, or these kind of subjects. Though I have also done MSc and I've also cleared the exam for the lecturership, but that was a long way back, So my students, they want to know that what is the roadmap, what is the path they have to follow once, they clear their BSc honors in a particular subject, then how they can be a professor or a lecturer in college. Is it the same criteria, ma'am, as we had, long way back, or some changes are there? Please elaborate, ma'am.
Hani, would you like to take it up?
the criteria till now is I don't know how we what is the base year which you are talking about, but I'll tell you the currently criteria to become a lecturer or a university teacher is you have to qualify an exam which is called a National Eligibility Test. It's commonly called NET. There are two organizations or institutes through which it is done. For sciences and mathematics, it is done through CSIR, and from humanities and other subjects, this paper is done through UGC. However, the test remains the same. So that is a minimum criteria. After you, by the way, you're eligible only after you've done masters. So you give this test, and in that test also, if you're of a certain less than certain age, which I think is 35 for women candidate, and I think 32 for men. If you're below that age, then you are also given a scholarship if you do well in that, which is called a Junior Research Fellowship. This is equivalent to also for your PhD. If you wish to do PhD, you get the scholarship to do your further studies. However, yes, that you've reminded me of, if you, your students, if you wish to do PhD, there are two common courses which are related to research. One is MPhil and the other is PhD. Both these programs are done after the master's level. MPhil will now get discontinued after the implementation of the National Education Policy. Till now, some universities used to do MPhil and certain universities were not doing MPhil. But now, centrally in the sense, in all the universities, MPhil will not be offered from 21 onwards. So after masters, you can do your PhD straight away. NET, you can start giving it within your master year, the second year of the masters, or you can start giving it after. This is also held, by the way, the NET exam is held twice in a year, usually in June and December, but अभी कुछ थोड़ा सा change हुआ because of COVID, कुछ schedule में change हुआ था. तो दो बार आप NET कर सकते हैं. You have to become a teacher in the university in higher education. You definitely need to qualify this national eligibility test. PhD will also very soon become part of a mandatory condition to become a university teacher. So till now it wasn't, but now that we're hearing for college as well as for the departments, PhD may also. Definitely if done PhD, you're given that upper edge during the interviews. So PhD will also become one of the mandatory conditions to become a lecturer.
Okay, ma'am, but I think it is the same also. I also gave NET exam only. But ma'am, one thing more the students are asking, after doing their BSc, is MSc like the exam? What is the kind of a paper it's there? It's based on BSc, whatever they have studied in BSc, or something else? I mean, general knowledge or some other kind of questions are there?
See, the entrance exam to masters is mostly based on the content that you've done in your bachelor's degree, because you wish to have, when you take people in at the master's level, you obviously as teachers also we look forward to having some kind of a basic understanding into the subject. So because the entrance exam is open to most of the students whosoever qualify the subjects, so definitely it's not based primarily on general awareness or general knowledge. It has a major component of the subject that you're opting for. Some departments, for example, journalism, if you talk about masters in journalism, they would definitely like the student to have a bit of a general awareness as well. And so some departments, because owing to the need and of the discipline that they are coming in, some departments do have a component of other things apart from the content understanding, like general awareness in journalism, as I said, or maybe some quantitative aptitude in some other paper. The syllabus of all this is also available on the website, by the way. And, masters for these students who are currently in 11th, 12th, it's like 3 to 4 years ahead. And with the NEP, we know things are going to change. So be prepared to accept these changes, which are going to come. By 2022, many things in India, including the school education and university education, will change. So definitely masters will also change, but definitely there'll be an entrance test.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Upma, can I just ask something related to this?
I was just thinking that we are already late. I think if ma'am's permit and our guests are ready to continue, we are here for, we can be here for more time.
I know it's gone too long, but
I think, we'll take last 2 or 3 questions, and then, I think both me and Hanif, I'm sure Hanif would also be getting a lot of calls on the mobiles, and I'm also getting it. So maybe the last 2 or 3 questions, and then if we can.
Yes,
ma'am. Just a quick one. Ma'am, you said that MPhil will be discontinued, but I believe for psychology it will continue. Just a yes or no, that's it.
No, MPhil as a degree will discontinue from next year onwards. The NEP has clearly mentioned that there'll be no MPhil degree now. So as a degree, it will discontinue, irrespective of discontinue for all courses.
Thank you, ma'am. Hanif ma'am, I think you were planning to show us something. So would you like to?
Yes. I think. What did I say, Shobhaji? मैंने क्या?
I think वो eligibility का था, but I think if we can skip that for the time being, we have
it's already, on the website.
It's all on the website, the Delhi University website. I had shown. Go under the admission. The bulletin of information is there, and in section 2, all the eligibility criteria of the existing honors courses and the program courses is there. So any applicant, who would like to go through it, they may go through it. In fact.
This starts from page number 7 onwards, by the way, on the bulletin of information, and you can take a look. It starts from page number 7 onwards.
Fine, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, Reena ma'am, shall I?
Yeah, I just want to put in a small word that we are really grateful that you have devoted 2 long hours with us. And yes, the major thing is that everybody must do well in whatever they are doing. They should try to perfect their knowledge and put in the maximum amount of hard work. It doesn't matter as to what they are pursuing at a particular moment of time, especially now that they have experienced COVID. Everybody rose to the occasion because they were capable of, that exponential learning process was possible because those players who were involved in the teaching process had open minds, had a capacity to learn. So that is the major thing. I just have to thank you. That's all. I'll hand over to Upma if she's got some words lined up, because from my side, this session was too special.
Yes, ma'am, exactly.
Yes, and the teachers have asked so much. Students have also asked. Teachers have asked so much. So we have got a pool of knowledge, which as I said, we will be sharing with everybody. We might just make out a message and can share it on various groups, because other principals and other schools also need to know whatever you have told us. So we'll try to do that if you allow.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Upma.
Now, at the end of this session, we are extremely grateful to our esteemed speakers, Dr. Shobha Bagai and Dr. Haneet Gandhi, for guiding our students and parents so extensively about the highly prestigious University of Delhi, our dream destination. It was indeed a very informative session for us all, including we, the teachers. We are also thankful to all the parents and students for participating with such zeal and inquisitiveness. We believe that it's surely going to be a fruitful learning, and for everybody's convenience, the recording of this session will be available on the official YouTube channel of the school. Dear students, it's just the start of the day. A lot is on the way for you all. So be with us and keep learning. Thanks once again, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
It was indeed a